All right, so today's notes are 2.3 remainder and factor theorems, and we're on day 1. So if you browse through the notes that we're doing today, you're going to start with an opener, which you could do on your own. Then we're going to do polynomial long division, which is not new. You've done it. You might have struggled, but we're going to try to help you not struggle anymore. Then we have factoring and finding quotients, and then we have synthetic division, which you've also learned before, and it was in your summer packet, and then synthetic substitution versus direct substitution, which you already know how to do also. So this is all just recapping things that you've learned before. Okay, go ahead and pause the video, try the opener, 410 divided by 3 without a calculator. Use long division to do it. Okay, in case you forgot how. 410 divided by 3. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the first number and you're going to say, does 3 go into 4? And the answer is yes. It goes in there one time, so you're going to put a 1 above that. Then you're going to multiply that 1 times this number, which is 3. You get 3, and you put that underneath the 3, and you subtract anytime you write something underneath it. All right, 4 minus 3 is 1. And now you have to bring down this 1, bring down this 0, and you're going to start over. So now you say, does 3 go into 1? Of course it doesn't, because that was the remainder that was left over. So you look at this number and you say, does 3 go into 11? It sure does. It goes into it 3 times. So you put a 3 up here, multiply this times this. That's 9. Now you're going to subtract those two. 20. All right, once again, you're not asking yourself, does 3 go into 2? Because it's the remainder, it doesn't. Does 3 go into 20? Yes, it does. It goes in there 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract. You get 2, and you have no more numbers to bring down. Remember, that was your remainder, so 3 is not going to go in there. Now, you're not going to write R2 like you did in 4th grade when you learned long division. You're going to say what you have left. You're trying to divide by 3, but you have 2 parts left. So it's 1/36 and 2/3. You write it as a fraction, right? Okay, now let's move on to polynomial long division. Find each quotient. So we're going to start off by writing this so it looks like long division. Right now it looks like fraction. Okay, so I'm going to start by writing this underneath my little L. If there's a term that's missing, I'm going to put a placeholder. So if you look at what I'm talking about, you have an x cubed, you have an x squared, and then you have a constant. You have no x term. So we need to put in a placeholder of there are no x's. So we're going to put in a placeholder of 0x. All right, I'm going to write it down. X cubed plus 2x squared plus 0x plus 5. So you always want to put in a placeholder if it's underneath this long division bar. And then it's divided by x squared plus 2. Now you can put a placeholder in that if you'd like, but you don't need to. If you don't put a placeholder under here, you'll see what happens. You'll get stuck and you'll get confused. That's what happens. Okay. All right, so I want to know, does x squared go into x cubed? And the answer is yes, it does, okay? But instead of thinking about that, I always say to myself this question instead. What do I need to multiply an x squared by to get it to be an x cubed? And the answer is x. So I'm going to say it goes in there x times. So now I look and I say, okay, I'm not going to put x up here because it's x to the first power. I like to put it above the other linear term. Since it's an x to the first power, I want to put it above the other x to the first power. This is going to organize my information for me. Now, to me, the reason why I do that is because I know I have this. I just have to get this and my remainder, and I'll be done. Okay, remember, anytime you write a number up here, you need to multiply it. So I need to multiply this by that. Now it's the whole thing, realize. Okay? So I have x times x squared, which is x cubed, and I'm going to write that underneath my x cubed. X times 2, which is 2x. Don't write that underneath your square. Write that under your x. All right, recall from here, as soon as I wrote something down, I then subtracted it. Now I have to subtract everything. So I like to put it in parentheses and say, remember to subtract everything. Once I'm ready to subtract everything, realize I don't like subtracting, so I'm going to change it to addition and just distribute the negative. All right, x cubed minus x cubed is gone. There's no x squareds plus 2x squareds, which is 2x squared. 0x plus a negative 2x, which is minus 2x. And then bring down this plus 5. All right, what you're going to do next is start over. Pretend like none of this existed, and this is now underneath your square, not your square root, underneath your division bar, okay? So you're going to say once again, how many, or does x squared go into 2x squared? The answer is yes, but I look at it as, what do I multiply x squared by to get a 2x squared? The answer is a positive 2, so I'm going to put plus 2. Whenever I put anything up here, I have to multiply everything out here by it. So 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times 2 is 4, and I'm putting the 4 underneath the 5 because those are the like terms. And I'm going to subtract this. I hate subtraction. I'm going to change it to addition and distribute the negative. 2x squared and negative 2x squared cancel. Negative 2x and 0x's is negative 2x. 5 and negative 4 is 1. Okay, so now, once again, what am I going to do? I'm going to pretend like this is not here. And I'm going to start over and just look at this. What do I need to multiply an x squared by to get an x? A negative 2x, I'm sorry. I can't, right? So realize also by looking here, you're at your remainder. Okay, so when you're writing your remainder, always put down a plus sign. Yes, always put down a plus sign. You are then going to make a fraction. In your denominator, you're putting what you were dividing by, x squared plus 2. In your numerator, you're putting your remainder, negative 2x plus 1. So this is my answer right here, x plus 2 plus negative 2x plus 1. Now, people will always try to do this. Let me erase this, erase that. And they're like, can't I just do this? Absolutely not. When you put a negative right here, it's distributing to both of these terms right here. And it's not a minus 1. It's a plus 1. So leave it the way I had it. Plus, minus right there. Okay, let's try another one. 5x to the 4th. No x cubes, so plus 0x cubes. Minus 2x squared, no x's, and no constants. X cubed plus x squared. Yes, you can put plus 0x if you want, plus 1. Okay, so I'm going to look at my first term and my first term. What do I need to multiply an x cubed by to get it to be a 5x to the 4th? 5x. So I'm going to take my 5x, I'm going to write it above my 0x because it's a linear term. Whenever I write anything up here, I need to multiply it by everything here. 5x times x cubed is 5x to the 4th. 5x times x squared is 5x squared. 5x times 1 is 5x. Notice I'm lining them up below their matching corresponding terms. So the quadratic under the quadratic, the linear term under the linear term. Now I'm going to subtract each one from the term above it. I don't like subtraction, so I'm going to change it to addition and then just distribute the negative to each. All right, those cancel. 0x cubed plus 0x cubed, nothing there. You can write 0x cubed, but there's none of them, so nothing there. Negative 2x squared. Oh, I made a mistake already. I just realized that because that's not wrong. So I'm going to go back. I'm not restarting the video. I refuse to. I realized when I just looked at it, 5x times x cubed is 5x to the 4th, but 5x times x squared is 5x cubed. That's where I made a mistake. 5x times 1 is 5x. And the only reason I caught my mistake was just thinking about like, oh, there is no cubic term, but there was. So my bad. Okay, so this was minus and this is minus. Okay, those cancel. 0x cubed and negative 5x cubed is negative 5x cubed. Negative 2x squared and no x squared is negative 2x squared. 0x and negative 5x is negative 5x, then I still have plus 0. Okay, moving on to my next step. Let me switch colors here. Okay, remember, I'm going to pretend like none of above the line, nothing above this exists. Okay, I'm going to look at my first term, What do I need to multiply an x cubed by to get it to be a negative 5x cubed? And the answer is negative 5. So I'm going to put a negative 5 up here. And then distribute the negative 5 to each of these three terms. Negative 5 times 5x cubed is negative 5x cubed. Negative 5 times x squared is negative 5x squared. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Parentheses, subtract the whole thing. Addition, 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 addition. Right, because I'm changing it to the opposite. These cancel. That's 3x squared minus 5x plus 5. Okay, so I realize I'm at my remainder. I also can look here and say, what do I need to multiply this by to get this? And that's not going to happen. So I realize I'm at my remainder. So I'm going to put plus fraction bar. Numerator, 3x squared minus 5x plus 5, which is my remainder, over what I was dividing by, x cubed plus x squared plus 1. And I'm going to box my answer, which is this whole thing right here. Okay, next, you can go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. It's long division. Find the quotient, okay? All right, let's see how you did. If you got stuck, you could always just watch my whole part. If not, you can fast forward just to see if you got the same answer. It also asks you a follow-up question. What does your result tell you? Okay, what do I multiply an x by to get an x cubed, which is x squared? So I'm going to write x squared above my 7x squared, multiply it out. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 6 is 6x squared. Subtract everything. Plus, minus, minus. Gone. X squared plus 4x minus 12. Start over. What do I multiply an x by to get it to be an x squared? That's x. So I put a plus x here. Distribute x squared plus 6x. Subtract. Negative 2x minus 12. Start over for a third time. What do I multiply x by to get it to be a negative 2x? Negative 2. Distribute. Negative 2x minus 12. Subtract. Distribute your negative. No remainder. Okay, so my answer is x squared plus x minus 2. What does your result tell you? So there is no remainder, right? So there is no remainder. If there is no remainder, what does that mean? What does that mean? So what I mean by that is that when I take 12 and divide it by 3, there is no remainder. When I take 12 and divide it by 4, there is no remainder. When I take 12 and divide it by 5, there is a remainder. So how are 3 and 4 special compared to 5? 3 and 4 are factors of 12. That means that x plus 6 is a factor of x cubed plus 7x squared plus 4x minus 12. So it means that, x minus 6 is a factor of that polynomial. Okay, so keeping that in mind, it says factor this function completely using long division given that x minus 4 is a factor. Okay, so you can go ahead and pause the video and use long division. Divide this by this. You can fast forward through mine if you have already finished yours on your notes and you just want to check to see what the answer is. Things that you should know is that if you're not getting that the remainder is 0, that means you did it wrong. I'm already telling you that it is a factor, meaning there will be no remainder. All right, what do I multiply x by to get a 3x cubed? That's 3x squared. Distribute. 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. 3x squared times negative 4 is negative 12x squared. Subtract. Distribute your negative so you can just add. That is 7x squared minus 26x minus 8. Start over. What do I multiply an x by to get a 7x squared? That's 7x. 7x times x is 7x squared. 7x times negative 4 is negative 28x. Subtract. I don't like subtraction, so I'm going to distribute my negative. That's gone. 2x minus 8. What do I multiply an x by to get a 2x? That's 2. Distribute. 2x minus 8. Subtract. I don't like, so I change. Remainder 0. All right, so my answer is not 3x squared plus 7x plus 2 because the directions don't say divide these two. It says factor. So I need to factor this function completely. So let's, first off, all of the ones on your test have names. So let's give this one a name. We're going to say it's f of x equals. Okay, so we're going to factor it completely. We have f of x equals. So far I know that one factor is x minus 4. My other factor is this, 3x squared plus 7x plus 2. Now notice I need to factor this completely. So I have to continually factor this. Okay, so it's a trinomial. You can factor it however you factor it. I'll factor it how I factor it. So what I do is I make this x, and then I look for two numbers that multiply to give me 6 and add to give me 7, which are 6 and 1. And then don't forget to divide those two numbers by the lead coefficient, which is 3. Simplify either of these if they are simplifiable. This one simplifies to 2 over 1. So this is 1x plus 2, or just x plus 2, and this is 3x plus 1. All right, so now I know I have f of x equals x minus 4 times x plus 2 times 3x plus 1. Okay, so you did this in Algebra 2 with trig, but it might be a little blurry because it was like more of the advanced stuff. All right, synthetic division is a shortcut to dividing polynomials by a linear factor of the form x minus c. So if we look back, we were dividing by x minus 4 here. We could have used synthetic division. Here we are dividing by x plus 6. We could have used synthetic division. Here we were dividing by this. Absolutely not. Here, absolutely not. Those are not linear. So we couldn't have used synthetic division there. So on your test, it'll say like divide using long division, or I think it'll just say divide, but synthetic division won't be an option if we don't want you using it. But if synthetic division is an option from now on out, use it. Divide each using synthetic division. Okay, so you're dividing by x plus 6. It's in the form x minus c. So in this case, c is negative 6. So we are going to synthetically divide by negative 6. So what you're going to do is you're going to put down the negative 6. Then you're going to put down an L, I guess you can look at it as. It's an upside down synthetic division. And some teachers like have a weird box down. I don't even know. Just leave it. This is how I do it. Okay, now in here you need your coefficients on your terms. If you skip a term, so if there is no x, you need to put a 0 as a placeholder there because there'd be 0 x's. All right, we have 1x cubed, 7x squareds, then we have 4 x's, and then we have our constant of negative 12. Okay, so now we are going to synthetically divide. Here's the process. But realize, before we start, I'm dividing this by this, a polynomial by a polynomial. My answer is a polynomial. It's not a number, okay? All right, you drop this number first. That's 1. Then you multiply these two numbers. That's negative 6. You're going to write it right there. Now you're going to add these two numbers, which is 1. Now you're going to multiply again. I don't know why I did that. My bad. I thought it was highlighter, obviously. Now I'm going to multiply these two numbers. It's negative 6, add negative 2. Multiply, that's 12, add, that's 0. Okay, so I know my answer now. So here's what you're going to do next. Your answer's not 0, okay? This is a polynomial right here. And if this started off as x cubed, I'm going to go down 1 degree to x squared. And I know this is my x squared, this is my x, this is my constant, and this is my remainder. So now I'm going to write it as a polynomial. My answer is x squared plus x minus 2. Now if you rewind, we already did this problem. Where are you? Right here. Right, we divided by x plus 6. We did it right here. Look at the work here compared to the work we just did. So much easier to use synthetic division if you can. All right, here's our next one. We're dividing by x minus 3, so c is 3. All right, so we're going to use 3. All right, coefficient on x to the 5th is 2. Coefficient on x to the 4th is negative 3. Coefficient on x cubed, there isn't one, so I'm going to put a 0 as a placeholder. Coefficient on x squared is 5. Coefficient on x is negative 7. And then constant is 2. Most common forgotten thing is obviously going to be this. It will change your answer completely, so make sure you do it. All right, drop your 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Add, that's 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Add, that's 9. 3 times 9 is 27. Add, that's 32. 3 times 32 is 96. Add, that's 89. 3 times 89, I might have to, no, I don't. I can do that in my head. 90 times 3 is 270. Minus 3 is 267. See? You could have done it off to the side if you wanted to. 269. Okay. Now I'm going to look to see if my answer is a number or if my answer is a polynomial. I have a polynomial divided by a polynomial. My answer is a polynomial. So I look here and I say, okay, it wasn't x to the 5th. I'm going to go to x to the 4th. X to the 4th, x cubed, x squared, x, constant, remainder. So my final answer is 2x to the 4th plus 3x cubed plus 9x squared plus 32x plus 89 plus 269 over x minus 3. Because that was my remainder, right? When we write remainders, in the numerator goes the remainder, and the denominator goes what you were dividing by. Okay, last but not least, it says we can use synthetic division to evaluate as well. This is called synthetic substitution. So it says, given this function, find f of negative 2. Direct substitution is just doing what you would think you would do. Find f of negative 2. So let's do that. F of negative 2 equals negative 2 to the 4th plus 3 times negative 2 squared minus 8 times negative 2 plus 12. All right, so negative 2 to the 4th is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which is 16. Plus 3 times negative 2 squared, which is 4. Negative 8 times negative 2 is plus 16, and then plus 12. This is 12 right here also. So 32 plus 24, this is 56, f of negative 2. Now those numbers didn't get that big, but there's so many places to make mistakes. So another way to do this is using synthetic substitution. Synthetic substitution is just the same process as synthetic division, except your answer isn't a polynomial. I'm asking you to plug in negative 2 and I want an answer. Your answer is the remainder. Okay? So let's see what I mean by that. So notice this is not saying x minus 2. It's saying it's negative 2. So you're using negative 2 with your synthetic substitution, which is the same thing as synthetic division. Coefficients. 1, there is no x cubed, so 0. 3, negative 8, 12. Drop the 1. Multiply, that's negative 2. Add, that's negative 2. Multiply, that's 4. Add, that's 7. Multiply, that's negative 14. Add, that's negative 22. Multiply, that's 44. Add, that's 56. So f of negative 2 is 56. Okay. Once again, you need to ask yourself the question. The reason my answer is not a polynomial here is because I wasn't doing a polynomial divided by a polynomial. It was just plug in -2. Okay, that's it for today. Go ahead and get started on the course